It's the happiest day of the year, you guys. It is time to plant the window box. Hey everybody, I'm Erin from the Impatient Gardener, and I'm sitting here on the ground rather than by a window box because the sun is brutal. And so filming is going to be a little hard over by the window box, but I thought I'd talk to you about how I plan out window boxes. I've done this before. Every year I change it up. Window boxes are my absolute favorite container to plant. They're a challenge because the typical rules that apply to most containers don't necessarily apply to window boxes. Now, my first advice when you get a window box is buy the biggest, deepest, widest window box you can possibly hang on your house. And when you're sizing your window box, don't go by the measurement of your windows. Go a few inches out. It will look so much better in terms of how it's weighted if you have it a little bit wider. And if you have shutters, you can pull it out even farther. So go bigger rather than smaller on your window boxes. Even though I have a pretty big window box here, it gets very frustrating for me because I want to layer in a lot more plants than I'm able to. So I really do wish that my window box was quite a bit deeper. And if I were to do it again, I would figure out a way to get a deeper window box on my house. So here's the rough concept. We're going to change a few things up here this year, but this is what we're working on this year. Now with window boxes, typically if it depends a lot, what you're going to plant there depends a lot on the height of your window box. So if you have a window box that is maybe like 4 feet off the ground, you can plant entirely different plants than what I'm going to be planting here. Because my window box is quite high up on the house, I need plants that get pretty tall and that droop over pretty well, because otherwise you won't see them up there. You'll just see them from a distance, but you won't see them as you get closer to the patio. So keep that in mind. Also, of course, remember window boxes, because they're smaller water reservoirs, you really have to think a lot about watering. So the window box that I have actually came with a self-waterer, and I decided to take that out because it's worked really well. We've had that window box now for probably 12 years. I decided to take it out because last year I actually ran drip up to it and I rarely use the self-waterer. So I decided to just take that out and fill the whole thing up with soil because it'd be more soil volume in there. And just rely on the drip this year and hope that works out okay. Okay, here's the palette of plants, right? So one of the things that I do that a lot of people think is really strange is that I, several times now, and I'm doing it again this year, have put a vine on the corners, which basically comes up the edge of the window. I feel very strongly that since we have a tall house, I really want more height there, but I don't want to fully block the window that we have. So we've got purple bell vine going in those spots. I hope it does really well for me this year. It did great in my deck containers last year. This is quite a bit more hot sun than what we had over there. So I'm hoping as long as I can keep it really well watered, I'm hoping it will thrive in that area because it's a very tidy vine that sticks well to whatever you're growing it up, and then it will just come right back down again. Last year I grew a hyacinth bean in there and it was a jungle. I mean, I liked it, but it was a jungle. So I'm also kind of, as you can tell here, there's kind of a blue and white theme going on here, which I don't know how that happened, but sometimes these things just develop. There's a couple of plants in here that I'm using specifically because I'm also using them in other containers. And at least for the containers that are around the patio area, I like to repeat at least 1 or 2 elements in them so that there's some cohesiveness there. I mean, I would never be able to plant them all exactly the same. Life's too short in my mind to do that. But for instance, this is Silver Shield Plectranthus here. That will be appearing in a lot of spots in the garden, and will also be going in the garden bed along the patio underneath the window box, so that will tie in there. And then I also have this is a very small one, but it'll grow great. This is the new Green Medusa sweet potato vine from Proven Winners, which has this really nice feathery texture. That's going to show up in at least one other container. So we've got those two. Now, at some point along the line, I was looking for container inspiration, and I came across a yellow and white container that I really liked. So I'm bringing in white, which I do think helps because you might think it would disappear against the White House. I feel like it helps tie it into the house. I don't use a ton of white flowers, but I think it works to help have it make sense and tie into the house a little bit. And I'm bringing in just a hint of yellow. This is Moonlight Night. This is a brand new Alyssum lobularia from Proven Winners. Now in the back, I've often done, one of my favorite plants to put in window boxes is the Verbena bonariensis Meteor Shower. That's a Proven Winners variety. This year I've decided to go with Angelonia. So we've got one of those Wedgwood blues, which is fine. I stuck that at the center. And then I've just got the Angel Face White Angelonia. All of those get about 18 to 24 inches tall. And the Plectranthus might get a little taller than that, but it's very easy to cut back. Now, what you might see at the front here is this beauty. This is a new color of Easy Wave petunias. This one is called Sky Blue, and I'm not sure, I was sent these as samples, so I don't think they're out, this color's out till next year, but I will never get over this color in a flower. I just love it so much, so it had to go in here, so I'm going to have 3 of those. And then in front of that, I've got the Whirlwind White Scaevola, which I don't use very often, but every time I see it in a container design, I really love it. So here's where I started. However, I feel like this is a little bland because keep in mind, underneath this window box, I plant all the really colorful, tall dinner plate dahlias. And I just feel like we might need a little something to tie in with that. So we're going to go to one of my favorites. You guys probably recognize this. I use this plant all the time. It is one of my favorite annuals. This is Superbena Peachy Keen. I love this color. So I think we're going to try to jam it in there. It's going to be tight. So I'm going to try to jam one of those in the corners there just to get a little hint of brightness. It's a vigorous plant, so I think it'll kind of weave its way in there. Oh, and then last of all, I've got this Corkscrew Rush because I always love these little elements of texture popping up. So now it's just time to plant them.
I think that I'm going to hiding somewhere by a gated star. Baby, they ain't never gonna find me. I'm a renegade. I could be the one who saved you from this hard place. We could be as one and we'll escape. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. I can feel it, it burns inside me. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. Trust me, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Yeah, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Oh, I won't let you down. We could have the world to ourselves, going to a place that's far, staring at the stars for hours, 'cause you're a renegade. I could be the one who saved you from this hard place. We could be as one and we'll escape. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. I can feel it, it burns inside me.
Okay, I put the drone down. Few things are more nerve-wracking than a drone flying above your head when no one is at the controls, because I'm also at the controls of it. I'm just tying up these little purple valvines to get them started a little bit, although they're vigorous twiners, so they shouldn't have a problem, but I just don't want them getting lost in here, for starters. And I did fill this container up before we started the video with Organics Mechanics Premium Planting Blend. That one, now all of Organics Mechanics blends are peat-free. I've been using Organics Mechanics now for 2 years, and which means I've been, with the exception of some seed starting mix and things like that, I've been completely peat-free for 2 years now. And It's not just that it's like better, much better for the environment and potentially the responsible thing to do, but I also find that the plants like it much better. It's a compost-based potting mix, so there's a lot of nutrients in it. They do well with it, and you don't have to fully replace it every year, which is really nice. Okay, I just got to get these tied up, and then we'll take a look at this. Oh, and I also put in a healthy dose of Osmocote in here, which is I start all my containers with Osmocote, and then I will use a liquid fertilizer from there. But that's a good time I like that as a time release fertilizer. So I wish it wasn't quite so bright because I was hoping to get the window box in the shot here, but pretty much you're just getting glare off the house. But obviously, listen, I love planting window boxes every year, no matter what other containers I show you that I'm planting. I always show you the window box. I feel like window boxes are a challenge when it comes to planting to get them right. Did we get it right this year? We'll find out. A quick note on the purple bell vine, because I know some of you guys are going to ask. How did it do? How did I get it to do that? Because a lot of people told me they had issues with their purple bell vine. Well, I bought it. So remember how I planted that purple bell vine? I don't know when that was, March maybe. It did not germinate for me. And then I replanted it, and it did not germinate for me. So in the end, I actually ended up finding plants and buying them. So that's what happened with me. It happens all the time, you guys. Purple bell vine is, if you didn't have success with it, it is particularly difficult to get started. Once it does get started, it just sits there and does nothing. So, and I think that's because it just wants heat. It's tropical, it wants heat. So anyway, if you didn't have success with your purple bell vine this year, don't feel bad, neither did I just bought it. So thank goodness we can just go out and buy plants. All right, I hope you guys are having a great day in your garden. Hey, stay tuned, subscribe if you don't already, hit the notification bell so you can see updates of how this turned out. Otherwise, you might miss it. All right, have a great day in your garden. See you guys.